Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing really well. My name is Usha Karimpanekil, and I'm a mentor, a coach, a trainer for all those young leaders, new leaders, and help them make that transition effectively. And this podcast helps you bridge that gap between you and your teams. And that's why we call it Tales of Teams. And we bring you some amazing stories from some wonderful leaders on how they led their teams. And today's guest is very special. This was a beautiful, beautiful conversation. I absolutely loved it and honestly learned so much through that process. There were a bit of technical glitches during the recording, which I realized later. So I've tried to edit it off and make it as smooth as I can, but I didn't want to lose out a lot of great learning through that conversation. So bear with me if you do face some interruptions in between, but I'm sure the conversation is so engaging that you would not even notice it. But this has been a wonderful discussion. So hope you enjoy it. Come, let's meet Neha Agarwal. Friends, the guest today is someone very special, someone I have been thoroughly impressed with as well as inspired by. You have to follow her LinkedIn posts to understand the power of visual representation of thoughts and ideas and the joy of sharing your learnings and knowledge. She brings together strategy, tactical execution, and service integration to deliver breakthrough business outcomes. Over 20 years of technology experience currently focused on cloud and automation, out of which 6+ years were spent managing product and platform systems. She has truly mastered the art and science of building and motivating front-end teams for rapid, rigorous execution. She has been #1 performer for building alliances, ecosystems, and partnerships that work, scale, and add value, known for taking non-performing alliances and making them work. She has a passion for community collaboration and has been selected by Lean In as a regional leader and is mentoring her as a community leader. Lean In, for those of you who don't know, is a community of women started by the Facebook COO Sheryl Sandberg, and they do some amazing work with women leaders. She is an alliance expert by profession, collaborator by passion, and on a mission to support 1 million women in their career journey. Currently, the head of strategic alliances at Amazon Web Services. Please welcome Neha Agarwal.
Thank you so much, Usha, for this warm welcome and very kind words.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you here, Neha. I've been following your LinkedIn posts, and of course, we are part of the Iron Lady community. So I am always impressed by how you put your thoughts into those graphics. It is amazing to see.
Usha, I am truly humbled, but there is a secret and I will share it with you later and with the audience as well.
Okay, wonderful. We look forward to that. All right, so I want to start at the start of your career. And if you have to describe this exemplary career that you have built, how would you describe it in a phrase maybe, and why?
I would say accidental. I had never thought I would be in sales. I would be doing alliances. My parents are very, very technical, and they wanted me to become a research scientist or something. I had a lot of pressure to do masters by them, but I was very certain that if I stay at home, I will get married. And they were very aggressively looking for a match. I knew that only way to escape that was to get a job. And I
True.
started giving interviews, and it was the peak of recession 2002 after the dot com burst. So there were
Hmm.
hardly any jobs. So the first job that came my way was in sales, and I just plunged into it. And once I started doing it, I started to enjoy it. And in 6 months' time, I had understood that sales is my calling. So then, from that moment, there was no looking back. So sales happened to me absolutely accidentally. So I say that this is an accidental career. And from sales to alliances, this transition was also very, very accidental. I had not planned for it. So
Hmm.
that is why, I just say that it just happened. Maybe the universe just said, my mother-in-law was extremely sick and I was taking care of her. I had many relatives at home. I was managing so many things. And usually I don't take off, and I was off for a week. So my CEO called me, and I was working with my CEO in the night. I used to tell him every night I will log in and I will finish off whatever work you have. So after a week, he asked me that you never do that. Is everything all right? I said everything is not all right. This is what has happened at home. My mother-in-law has undergone a knee replacement surgery. So he
Hmm.
said it would have been bad for you. So I told him, yeah, I mean, I had a lot of relatives at home. I had to manage multiple things. So that is why I'm sorry. I had to make you wait the whole day every week, the whole week. So he just made a note of it and he kept the phone down. And when next week I was in office, he called me in a full conference room, full of people. And he said, and people were sharing that there are personal challenges. The project that we all were working on was lagging, and people were sharing that how it is impacting their personal lives. And he called me that if your mother is sick, it's okay. Your wife is taking care. In her house, her mother-in-law was sick. She was taking care, and if she can manage so many moving parts, I trust her to manage my entire alliance ecosystem. And he made that announcement and gave all the alliances to me.
Wow.
So that is
That
how I
is.
became the alliance leader. And he told me that you have not broken a single relationship. If you're managing your in-laws, your parents, everybody at home, and you were managing work, so you will
Mhm.
take care of my ecosystem. I have trust in you.
That is so wonderful. And that's a very unique way of looking at it, right? Instead of considering that as a negative or a hindrance to somebody's performance, actually looking at it in a very positive way and saying that, how much you can stretch a person and how well they can do at it.
And it really takes a leader to look at something with this kind of a lens. And it opened my
Hmm.
eyes that as a leader you can find a gem in any situation.
That is so true. I have a follow-up question in the sales career that you built, and I actually jumped into sales because I was doing quality analysis in a chemical lab, and I figured like in 3 months I didn't want to do that. I definitely want to get out of the lab, but I didn't know what to do. And like you said, sales was the one which was easily available. But I used to be like the single person in sales in the whole team. Did you ever face that, and how did you navigate that situation?
Usha, I was always the single person in
Yeah.
my leadership team. I am the only girl in most of the offsites. So I kind of liked it, Usha. Actually, there is very, very little competition, and it was very easy to stand out. And I really enjoyed it, but sometimes it is challenging. And some very basic questions, right? And once I remember, I had to host something. There were 100 men. I was the only lady in that gathering, and I had carried a short dress, and I was on the stage, so I was not sure that from the stage, are my legs only visible? Is it looking all right? Not looking all right? I didn't know whom to ask. I had nobody
Yeah.
to go and ask this question. And once I'd worn a sari, so it was so embarrassing that I had to go and ask my boss. I said, I don't know whom else to ask for. So it is very tough. You don't know whom to go and share with, whom to ask some very basic questions. So it becomes very, very challenging, and those people don't relate to a challenge that a lady undergoes.
True. True.
So it is tough, but at the same time I really enjoyed it. And rising in the career because of this is very, very easy. There was hardly any competition.
That is again true, and the positive way to look at it. Not. I think I also enjoyed it. Sometimes you enjoy the attention that you get, and if you're doing
Yes.
well, then I think you are anyway a star, right? Because
Right.
like
So it was fun. I had no competition, right? Who, what
right,
else wearing whatever I wear is unique because everybody else would be in a business suit any which way. So
that is true.
that ways I had fun. I had lots of fun.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. All right. So we here talk about anyway leaders and teams. I just want to understand. You might have made that decision to make a switch from being an individual contributor to being a leader. How did that happen, and what were some of the key influencing factors to make that decision?
Usha, I was very scared. I was very scared to be a leader, and everybody else used to tell me it's a big responsibility. Having a team is very difficult. Navigating, soft skills are very tough. This is what I was hearing, and I was a salesperson, as I told you. So I was very comfortable with my quota and achieving my quota. So I was very clear. If I do, this much money will be in my bank account. I had a lot of control.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very scared of letting go of that control because I felt my work, my clients, I know fully, let me deliver it. I didn't want another moving part in my life. I was very scared that I will be responsible for a set of people, and what if they don't perform. So with that block almost for 7 8 years, I chose to be an individual contributor despite the opportunity knocking at my door to be a leader.
Okay.
I was just not willing to let go of that control. I was just not willing to take that responsibility. And at that point, lean-in happened in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking for a mentor. I was struggling personally. I had two small kids. I had to manage them. My husband had a rising career. And the question that was asked to me by my family at that point in time was, why are you working so hard? Who has asked you to work? If your husband is earning well, you should be contented. And I was trying to be contented, but I was not happy. So I was in that quest that what am I looking for? Why I am working? What should be my next role? So these were the questions that were bothering me, and I was looking for a mentor who could guide. And I read Cheryl's book at that point in time,
Mm-hmm.
and I related to the book so much. Felt she wrote the book for me, and it was like something God sent. I felt it a lot of comfort after reading the book. I was able to understand why people around me are behaving in a certain way, why there are certain expectations from me, why my ambition is seen in such a wrong light. It
Mm-hmm.
answered a lot of things for me. And anybody who was about Cheryl's book, the person became a friend. I all day I wanted to talk about the book. So that is how I came in touch with people who were running the lean in circles, and I went for a meeting. And the day I went for the meeting, the leader was stepping down and they wanted a leader.
Mm-hmm.
I just raised my hand up because nobody else was raising, and I became the leader. And I started leading a small circle of 10 people. All they were very known to me because that was the life I was living. Common challenges that women face. I started organizing webinars for women, and
Mm-hmm.
slowly the circle started to grow. And soon it became a big circle of 150 ladies. And people were taking a note of the work that we were doing. And everybody started telling me, you are a fantastic leader. And is that I have transitioned from individual contributor to leader. So I said maybe it is possible. I was very scared. I realized that the impact that has to be created can be created only by a team. And when I was doing lean in work, I was not very systematic. I didn't know the lean in way of working. But I knew the challenges that women have. So I had to collaborate with multiple other people to make things happen. To if I had to do a session, I need technology, which platform are we going to use for the session. I needed somebody who understands the bylaws of lean. Then I needed a technical expert to deliver the session. So I was working with so many stakeholders. and I was able to do it. So that is the first time I realized that maybe I have the leadership skill in me. My ambition is very limited. I want a very comfortable life, and because of which I'm not stretching. It gave me confidence. So I took my lean experience to my work, and I went to my boss and said, we were doing a very big annual meet, and I told him I want to lead that meet. And that is the first ever time I went out of my comfort zone and I asked for an assignment. Usually it was always given to me. So after learning in lean that, uh, leader, you don't get what you want, you get what you negotiate for. So it had sit in my head, and I went told him that I want to lead this entire sales meet. I want to make it happen. And to my surprise, in a single go, he said, okay, go ahead and do it. And after I led that entire sales meet, it was a 3 months project. 150 people had come across the globe. When once I led that whole initiative, it gave me a lot of confidence. And every 3 months, I was asking for one responsibility, one resource to manage. I had a 6-member team which I was leading. So that kind, and they were all half reporting to me. I was not getting a full resource, but I was very determined. So I said, it's okay if they report into me for half of the day also is fine. Let them do some other work 50%. I will make them do half of the time. And most of these people were either high performers who wanted additional responsibilities, or who were people in PIP, their manager didn't want them, and I started leading them. And there was huge impact. We were really able to move the needle for the business. And that is when I learned that if you want full control, you work alone. But if you want to maximize the impact, you work as a team. And that was my transition. And now I can't even imagine, working without a team.
Wow, that's a wonderful story. And I like what you said is that if you want your impact to be bigger, then you work with teams. If you want to have control, you work alone. Once you actually started leading teams, and which I wouldn't say you had control on, but which were directly reporting to you, and delivering through them, how was that initial journey for you? There's always that transitioning phase, and for you probably it was smooth because you said you worked on the lean in circles, and then you organized these events, so you had some bit of experience getting into that role. But there's also this transition that the team makes along with you, right?
Yes.
To accept you as a leader. How was that?
Usha, one thing which I had not learned in Lean In was all of us were bound by a common passion. Anybody who comes in Lean In after a full day's work, giving time, is a person who is very passionate about women empowerment.
True.
Otherwise, that person will not be sitting in Lean In and doing that work. So we were all bound by a common passion. And there was nothing that I needed to do with those people. At least the thread that was tying all of us was, something related to women. Everybody wanted women to do better, to be uplifted. But the people, I started working with teams in office, I realized every person has a different motivation.
True.
There is nothing common. Somebody wants a promotion, somebody wants to go home early, somebody wants to look very good in front of big bosses. Everybody is different. And I was so confused. As a high performer, I was never scolded by my boss. Like, never means never. My boss has never raised his voice on me. Mm-hmm. At max, right? If something is really not happening, he would write my name on the blackboard. And he would say, I'm not erasing it. And he would write the work that is pending. And he would say, this will get erased only when you do it. And I would get so irritated seeing it every day. And I would apply the same strategy on my team, and it would not work even a bit. Okay. I was so confused that if it is working on me, why it is not working on everybody else. And I walked up to my manager, and he was a good, we were together for 15 years. I had always worked with him. So I went up to him and I told him that you don't shout at me, and you just do this. And it works so well. But it is not working on anybody else. So he said, Neha, have you seen anybody else's name written on this board? I said no. So he said, this is my unique way of managing you, because I know the day I shout at you, you will resign. You are to be treated very differently, and like that every member of the team has to be treated differently. You have to first understand the highs, lows, and motivate connected with that person, and then your approach has to be tailored to that person. If you use this cookie cutter approach, you are in for very serious trouble as a leader. And that kind of stayed with me. And then I started connecting with the team very deeply, and once I understood the person, I started behaving accordingly. And then I have a mentor called Mr. S. Sridhar. He was the CEO of Bajaj Auto, and he very dear mentor, and he talks of war strategies. And then in my life, Sridhar sir came, and I asked Sridhar sir this question that, I'm really struggling. Each member of the team is different, and uh, I don't know whom to shout at, whom to not shout at. And he gave me a wonderful formula. He told me that you have seen the bell curve. HR makes you draw the bell curve every time. I said, yes, we have to do the bell curve in every appraisal. He said, whoever is in the beginning of they are the people on whom you put pressure and you make them do superlative things. And they are capable of, they will do it also. If you don't challenge them constantly, they will go away. You pay them well, you challenge them well, you make them do things. And then you put at the fag end people who are just good for nothing, put pressure, either they will transform or they will quit. I said, in between, people are followers, they will follow them. So I used two things. One, connecting with the team deeply, understanding in which quadrant of bell curve they fall and what motivates them, and then tailoring my approach. Then my life became much, much simpler as a leader. At least before that, for almost 9 months, I struggled very badly.
Yeah, I remember seeing that bell curve
Yes,
picture.
and I told you I'll tell you one secret. So let me unfold that also.
Sure.
Actually, I was a dyslexic child, Usha. And
Wow.
for me, understanding numbers, simple numbers, right? 1 to 100 counting, learning counting was very tough for me. Greater than, lesser than, numerator, denominator, anything which was a mirror image was very, very difficult to read, write, difficult journey. And I learned very quickly if I draw something.
Sure.
So I started doing a lot of visual representation of my learnings, and in my mind that visual map would go.
Mm-hmm.
And that is how I finished my schooling, college. It was a good journey. But when I became a leader, I realized that what is leader's job? Leader's 80% job is to coach. Is basically first you do it yourself. You capture all the best practices. You document how it is done, and then you teach your. Most
Right.
of the leaders' time goes in this. So I started documenting a lot of stuff just so that I could tell my team how to do it. So most of my LinkedIn posts are my conversation with my team. That documentation is because I am teaching my team how to do it.
That is awesome. Yeah, thanks for sharing all of that, Neha. Really great way to simplify how
Yeah, so
to.
that is what makes you a leader, right? Team looks up to you because they want something simple they can replicate and quickly succeed. And if, as a
Yeah,
leader, if you can shorten their learning cycle, if you can shorten their winning cycle, they start following you. They look up to you.
that is true. Yeah, yeah. So, what would be something that you would attribute your success to as a leader? Is that your ability to coaching, simplifying things, or is there more to it?
I would say, and I always say that, right? Uh, these are all icing on the top. The basic thing, right, is the hunger to make a difference. First is that, and I'm very very hungry to make an impact. Very hungry to change the partner ecosystem. Very hungry to support people. So there is lot of hunger. There is lot of drive, and that coupled with discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Till I was not disciplined, I was an individual contributor. The moment I was able to get that, becoming a leader was much simpler, because as a leader, people will not listen to you when you say. People follow you only when you start doing.
True.
So I would give the entire credit to the drive, the hunger, and the discipline.
Mm, yeah. Yeah, I remember reading somewhere that, they will, you don't have to worry about how they feel when you say something, but you have to worry about the fact that they're watching you,
Yeah,
and
I'll give
learning
you a
from.
small example, Usha, and I tell this to everyone, that you go in a party and tell everybody dance, dance, dance. Nobody will dance. You put a nice music and you start dancing. The floor will be full in 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Everybody will come and join you.
that is true. Yeah, awesome. So I want to shift gears a little, and because you work so much with the Leaning Circle and are passionate about women development, you've spent so much time advocating for women development. Um, if you have to give women leaders 5 tips, what would that be?
Usha, I will women are born leaders. And I truly believe in that God has created them as a leader. They every day manage so many things that they are
Yeah.
born with it straight. The only thing that we ladies don't have naturally is the ambition.
Mm,
So we don't have a goal. We don't want to reach to a certain place. If you meet a man, he will have his next 3 career moves sorted in his head. Much I want to be earning. This is the car I want to be driving. This is the house I want to be living in, and then he will work backwards from there.
sure.
The only thing we women lack is the ambition.
And do you
Usually,
think?
yeah, yeah, Usha, please.
Sorry to interrupt you there. But do you think that can be developed? Because some of it I feel is also natural, right? Like how you are built and how you're probably a lot to do with your upbringing as well. But is there something somebody can do
Yeah, Usha, there's
to
a
the?
big tweak that we can do when we connect it with a purpose, right? Then everything changes for a lady, and that is how it changed for me. The
Mm,
moment I connected with a purpose, then it was about money. It was about buying a bigger house. I was not interested, and I'm still not interested. I eat only 2 rotis because otherwise I'll put on weight. So
we are.
I'm conscious that I
We all
can't
have
eat
that
more.
problem.
All of us, right? So I don't
Yeah.
want to eat more. I want to sleep on time. I don't want to party late. So for what am I working? Why I need this money? But the moment I was clear in my head that I have to be a role model for other women, I have to
Mm,
learn more so that I can teach more. I have to be that manager where people feel safe to work. I have to be a leader who brings in diversity. The purpose, no number of hours seem more to me. If I can work 20 hours a day, I'm very happy. I'm the happiest. On a Monday morning, you will see me so cheerful because I am not going to work. I'm going to my purpose.
yeah. Wow, that's a completely different perspective. How to
And,
tie
and
your.
I am very, 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 passionate about it. Monday morning becomes a joy
Yeah,
because that's my way of making a difference to the world.
true. Brilliant. Right. I think, go on and on with you, Neha. So many new learnings and such a beautiful conversation. Um, there's one thing that I have been wanting to ask you,
Yes.
and I know you have. Uh, we've had some interaction on this topic, but you um, encourage women, and also you speak extensively about building network, and you have
Yes.
some unique tips on how to do that as well. It would be really great if you could share that with our listeners.
So, Usha, I have very uncool thoughts on networking, and over a period of last 1 year, they have become even more uncool. But with your kind permission, you have asked for it, so I'm sharing it.
Yeah, go for it.
What happens is that women have a lot of talent. I told you they are born leaders. They're born with lot of gifts. But if a peacock is dancing in the forest, who will come and see? So most of the times, our talent, our potential is not known even in our immediate circle, because we are always so busy, we are in a hurry, we want to rush back home. I told you that networking is nothing but connecting very deeply with the other person, so that the other person knows you. And men have this sutta breaks. They will go down, they will have chai 2 3 times, they bond over smoke, they go out after drinks. And being in sales, my profession was such that networking was a very important part of it. So you leave alone networking, it was so tough. I was always sleep deprived, being mother of 2 kids and staying in a joint family, that
Right.
I could never ever think that I will go and have daru with people after work, because खाना ही नहीं होता था घर में. तो I knew कि I had to come and cook, or maid has not come, traffic jam, Bangalore rains. So I was always behind schedule, and
Mm.
and and I would really want to network. So I started doing something very simple. I would help people. If somebody has to buy a gift for their girlfriend, they knew they can come and ask. If somebody is getting married and they have to select a sherwani, I would definitely help that person. And slowly I had a network where I could just tell people and say, I need a job. So
Wow.
I understood that you don't have to really go out with that person and drink. You have to genuinely connect and create a bond. Best way of creating a bond is to give something of
Mm.
value. And I started sharing tips, advice, maybe compliment, a very simple compliment, that genuinely, if you find somebody beautiful, say you're looking gorgeous today.
Right.
And I started making connections. And it didn't take too much time. And whenever somebody had a bid, I was in sales and I was good with bids, large contracts. So
Mm-hmm.
I started sharing my skills. If somebody else had a bid, it would take just 5-10 minutes. When they're assembling the bid, I would definitely go stand there and ensure their bid is put together properly. If somebody has forgotten something and is in a panic, I would say it's okay. I have done it many times. I will help you do it. So that is how my circle started to expand. And then something magical happened. I realized that if you start writing and sharing, that is networking at mass scale. You will not be
Mm.
restricted by one person, two-person. You will be interacting with the whole world. You can network in any country, anytime, just by sharing your thoughts.
Yeah.
So I started doing that, but I had a lot of inhibition in doing that. And again, that credit goes to Lenin. I had gone to the conference and we were all in Cheryl's house. Cheryl had called 120 of her volunteers to her house, and we were in her house in San Francisco. And I was very scared because most of the women in that room were either CEOs, or were at very, very senior position. And I was like, I was young, and second, I had no accomplishment like that, of that level. Everybody was a TEDx speaker. I had
Mm-hmm.
never
Wow.
spoken in my office. Maximum I had spoken. So I didn't know what to do, what to share. I was like a lost puppy. I was looking for a corner to hide myself. And then there So I met this beautiful soul called Dr. Bertie's Berry. She had come there to address us, and I don't know how she understood that question on my head. And she said that best way to connect with another human being is to share our own story. And she
Mm.
narrated a very beautiful incident out of her life. And I started crying. And everybody else is looking at me that what is there to cry in such a story? But I cried so much. I went and hugged her after the session, and it gave me a lot of courage to started sharing my own story. And in that event itself, on that day, I shared my story of dyslexia. And I shared with everybody that how I'm so proud that my father helped me through the journey. He would draw pictures for me. Every day we would play games so that I can learn a new concept. So he completely sacrificed his birdie circle and I became his soul buddy for him to help me in that journey. And the moment I shared, so many people cried, so many people shared their experiences, and
Mm.
that became a very empowering moment. And from that moment, every single day, I have shared at least one story with the world outside. So that became my biggest superpower of networking, sharing my own story with everybody else.
Wow. I don't have words, Neha. I am so thrilled. I mean, I've got goosebumps actually listening to that. That is really wonderful and so simple to do, yet so difficult to share stories because a, you should have stories. Not everybody is a storyteller. Uh, is that something that you faced any difficulty with initially in how to really put your thoughts in the form of stories and sharing and making it even interesting, or that didn't bother you? It was just more sharing.
It was more sharing, Usha. I never bothered how is the format, content. In fact, a lot of people have a lot of opinions. So I want to share two things, right? If you're going with the mentality of giving, actually, then it will not bother you so much. Most of us want to receive good feedback, good comments,
Mm,
likes. So we want. The moment you are in the want mode, life is very tough.
yeah.
If you're in a giving mode, you want to share, you want to give, then you don't bother. So I would say it's a huge mental shift that be a giver. I say give, give, get. So focus on giving. The get part will happen. So just focus on giving. What special you can share with the world, that there is very liberating. Then you're not bothered. And second is people will give you all kind of feedbacks. Not everybody is going to like what you say, and especially your own family is not going to like it. So please take that in your stride. If you get hassled by that, bothered by that initial comments, then this journey will stop before even starting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So these are my only two tips that I tell people. If you want to network, give first, start giving. Give, give, get is my
Mm,
formula of networking. And second is don't be fazed by the feedback that other person is judging you, maybe because he or she wants to be like you and is not being able to do it. So they are trying to give feedback to you, or maybe they have a bad day, or maybe your ideas are not aligned. So it is completely all right. Don't get hassled by that. And third, there's sort of compounding, Usha. Everybody does it for some time and they leave. I say
mm,
that if you are building a good network and a robust ecosystem of people around you, keep doing it. I say in 10 years, give it 10 years.
mhm.
You will know everybody in your industry. But don't give
Yeah.
up in a day or two. It has huge compounding. Like bamboo tree. Have you seen bamboo tree? When they grow bamboo trees in Chinese bamboo, when the bamboo tree is in the ground, small, you will not even see it outside the surface. For 5 6 years, you continue to water, you will not see bamboo. But when it grows, then in 90 days, it would be 5 6 feet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So your network is like that. You keep
Yes.
watering it, keep nurturing it, keep sharing. For some time, you will not see any returns coming out of it, but suddenly it will grow so much.
Mm,
When I started writing on LinkedIn, I still remember I wrote one post on diet and how you can lose weight. Only one person liked it, and that was not my husband. My husband's friend. My husband also didn't like it. So I remember the name of the person, because after sharing, I was so anxious, and I had so many things that people told me, including somebody went and told my mother that has your daughter quit job? What is she doing online? I said it is all right. It should not bother you.
yeah. Yeah. And I think what you said is it makes a lot of sense. It's difficult. I can say that is like don't bother about it. Like when you're giving and not really concerned about what you get in return, I think that is liberating for sure.
Yes, and
Uh,
that's why I
I,
tell my posts are uncool, because a lot of people told me you're very uncool. What kind of uncool things you talk about, being kind and being giving all the time. So I said, yeah, this is very uncool. I am uncool. My brand is uncool.
I don't think so. I think that is we don't even have to brand it because it's you, right? It is I think to be you, your true self is so very important and not bother. I can tell you it makes a lot of sense. I don't know I'm there yet, but
Yes.
I will definitely try to follow that for sure. I would probably just close Neha, bringing us back to our theme of teens.
Mhm.
What do you think makes great teens?
uh, uh, One and the first and most important thing, right? A common mission. As a team, if you don't have a common mission, it is very, very difficult. A common mission is the first thing that a great team has to have. And after that common mission is trust. Team members and the leader has to earn trust. The leader has to earn trust of the team, and the team members have to earn trust of each other, and the team member has to earn trust of the leader. So the second key ingredient in the team is trust. A third key ingredient is communication, right? And I say no communication is over communication. Communication is the basis on which trust is built. So communication and transparent communication is the third element of the team. Fourth element I feel that the team has for each other is empathy, because if a team is not empathetic, if they are not keeping the goal, the common purpose first, then it becomes very, very difficult. Fifth element, and that is more for the leader, is not having biases or preconceived notions, because and no partiality. The moment there is partiality in the team or there are biases, it kind of breaks the team. So these are very five key elements, and over and above it is lots of fun. Because we all are very emotions. Human beings are emotional. That is how we are designed. This is our design, right? So
Yep.
we all can't function without fun. We all crave for fun. So if there is a lot of fun, the team is going to be together.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. So much of great learning today, Neha, and really enlightening to a great extent. Thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. I'm sure the listeners are also going to enjoy it. Thank you so much for your time, Neha.
Usha, thank you so much. You made my Saturday. You filled me up with energy. I was thinking how I'm going to go by the Saturday, but now I'm all charged. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Neha.
Thank
Bye.
you, Usha. Have a good day. Bye bye.
What did you think? Wasn't this just out of this world? If you want to keep hearing these stories and the great learnings that you get out of this, please follow me on Apple Podcast, on Spotify, and keep listening to Tales of Teens. I'll be back with yet another leader and yet another great story. Until then, keep leading the way.